Hey everyone, Dave Putz here from JKP Holdings. Alongside me, as always, Mr. Nathan Turner. How are you?
Hello, hello.
We've connect for a few minutes today. It has been a crazy, crazy time. I gotta see if what I think we're going on here, guys. It's been a beginning of the year kind of glitches, so I think it's been fun. So Nathan, what was your holiday like, man? I'm gonna fix your vision as we talk because I see your camera's a little off here on my screen here. Go ahead. What was your weekend? What was your holiday like?
It was good. It was relaxing, slowed down a little bit, got to just hang out, do nothing, which was great. It was good.
Spend time with the family, spend time with the kids,
Yeah,
all that good
yeah.
stuff.
My parents are here. My brother's over on the other side of town, so we got to hang out with them a bunch. And yeah, it was fun. Just relaxed, went snowboarding a couple of times, and just slowed down. It was really nice.
Nice.
How about
So
you?
it so things have been good, man. I think, spend time with the kids over the holiday weekend, and just kind of did what we wanted to do. We'll make sure, uh, what we found was that when we slow down, you start learning about your family, right? It's
Yeah,
been craziness 2023, and it's been fun though.
yeah,
It's been a journey for us to connect with everyone. 2023 was such an awesome, different year than we've had in all this time. So it's been a journey. With that
yeah,
said, we're now in the new year, and for some reason, every new year we all want to set goals and have some missions and
yeah,
whatnot. And this year we want to do the same thing because setting goals is part of growing. It's part of what we do as investors and as humans. We need to grow. We need to, adapt and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. Agreed.
Um, with that said, we also got to make sure that we do things with a goal set. I like what you said, DME. For those who don't know, right? Goal setting has to be something we measure. So
Yeah,
on today's call, we're going to talk about our goals for 2024, but also the top 10 tools that we find note investors use, as well as us on an everyday, every month basis, and what works for our businesses. Will be different for you guys, maybe, but majority, this is what our key is.
yeah, and it's going to be interesting because I know we don't use the same tools necessarily.
Sure.
Some of them are the same, some of them are different. So I think this is going to be good for everyone listening in just to see different ideas, things that you can implement in your own business if you like. So I'm excited.
So hopefully we all get connected with you guys and we kind of make sure that you guys are around, and tune in for everything. If you have questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, put it into the comment section, whatever, and we'll do our best to answer anything we can for you guys.
Yeah.
So when we do this kind of stuff, we want to make sure that you guys get an idea of what works for you, doesn't always work for us, vice versa. But also, we all want to share our knowledge. We want to share what ticks for us, what you guys may be missing, which is fine, which is great. So
Yeah.
let's
People,
start
you can
there.
benefit from somebody else's experience. So hopefully other people will be able to benefit from our experience,
Yeah,
things we have done and things that we found that worked and things we found didn't work, that kind of thing.
yeah, absolutely. So let's start off with some of our top 10 tools, and then we'll get to our goal setting and make sure we're accountable to our goal setting. We encourage you guys who listen to us, make sure you call us out on stuff and ask us how we're doing with stuff, because we need that as much as you guys need that accountability partner.
Absolutely.
So let's start there. What would you say is probably your top tool or one of your top tools that you need every day when you're doing any kind of note investing in your space? What do you think your top, or one of your top items is that you couldn't do your business without?
I've given this a bunch of thought, and there are a lot of things that I use every day, or at least several times a week. But I think, if I break it down and I think about the thing that I use the very most often, it's the internet. It's just the technology of having the internet and a
That's
computer available.
boring,
I
right? But it's
know, I know, it doesn't
essential.
sound like a lot, but I remember having this conversation with my kids. I don't remember how many years ago. And just the internet is what makes it possible for me to do what I do, the way that I do it. You go back and talk to Tom Henderson or something, and he'll talk about these books that they would get, and they would have to rifle through these books about loans that were available and things. And now I get sent a spreadsheet over the internet, and I can go and look at it, and I can analyze it right from home. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to do anything. At most, I might have to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, can you send me something?" But that's it. And so I know it sounds super basic and it's kind of boring, but it's essential. It's one of those things that I simply cannot do without. It's a really big deal.
So I see a comment that there's some choppy with the audio. Hopefully it got fixed. So I apologize if it didn't. If so, I'll keep working on this end. For me, we've said this a million times in space, is really kind of a network, right?
Yeah.
Our network is essential in our space right now.
Yeah.
I could not at all live without who I connect with on an everyday basis. The fact that this community is available for me to really kind of grow, learn, share, make mistakes. I mean, we have people who are beginners telling us something we didn't realize. And that's okay. We love that stuff because you never know where the information will come from or what experience that someone else may have.
Yeah. I mean, you and I probably talk at least once a week. But then I'm talking to realtors, I'm talking to attorneys, I'm talking to other note investors, I'm talking to, people that have done this longer than I have and learning what I can from them. So that's a good one. And again, it's essential. This is not a one-man show. You can't just decide one day you're going to do notes and do it all by yourself. There is a network and you have to be tapped into it. So that's a good one.
Yeah. So, our network doesn't incorporate only attorneys, right? It doesn't incorporate only servicers, which we'll get to, right? But it is key for us to grow as people and all that stuff. So what's your next best tool that you use on a daily basis to kind of get things working?
For me, I would have to say my next top tool that I use is my financial calculator. I use it constantly, and it's a tool that I didn't even know existed 15 years ago. I'd never even heard of a financial calculator. And then I was introduced to it, and now I use it, I think, every day, multiple times a day, often.
Wow. Amazing, right? Something we barely ever talked about when we first got started is become something we need essential. Never taught in high school, none of that kind of stuff happens, right? But it's essential. And they just did a blog article about financial calculator and the problems with it, right?
Yeah.
Because what we found is that most investors use a financial calculator, which there's nothing wrong with the financial calculator, except for if the the note goes default.
Right.
If that default happens, there's nothing you can do about the situation. And the financial calculator doesn't count into that because it doesn't know that. It counts a bond or a string of payments and gives you a return.
Yeah.
If the payments stop, foreclosure happens, that's outside the financial calculator's ability to figure out. So I had a whole big blog about this, that it comes up to a point, and I'm sure you guys all know we're running a class next week on Tuesday where we're going to be teaching how to build a calculator, a non-performing calculator that takes into things such as foreclosure timeframes for every state, which is different, the cost for foreclosure, statute of limitations, debt license, all that stuff is in our advanced class that we'll be holding next week. And the financial calculator is amazing because if anyone's ever tried diving into what the formula is, good luck.
Yeah. Yeah, it's certainly not manually. I mean, you need some kind of computing power behind it. People will ask me all the time, like, what would you pay for this? And I honestly, I cannot tell you off the top of my head. I have to plug in the numbers, and I've done this hundreds of times, but I couldn't just come up with a number. Even with all the times that I've calculated and done run numbers and things, I still couldn't just come up with a number. I have to plug in the numbers because I'm surprised constantly where if I was to try to do it off the top of my head, I would come up with a number and then I plug it into the calculator and I go, oh, wow, I was way off. It's something totally different than what I thought it would be. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've learned that lesson. Just I go back to that constantly, and I use it.
And we've run to new investors who are learning about notes and they say, well, I buy performing notes, so I use my financial calculator, and you can be awesome at it, which I encourage you guys to learn. It's not about knocking it, but the problem with it is it only calculates performing assets. That's all it does.
Yeah.
Cindy made a comment that the 10 BII is her favorite best friend. I agree with you. It's, one of the ninth wonder of the world, I want to call it, right?
Yeah.
But I think for me is understanding that piece, that we want to understand the fact that that financial calculator has limitations.
It does.
And if you can only do something, someone made a post earlier today on, I think your Facebook group was, what percentage of UPB and what percentage? It depends on the note numbers, and that financial calculator helps you solve that problem.
But then, like you say, if and when something goes non-performing, well, then that totally skews whatever numbers follow there. So then you've got to go back and recalculate it. And if you've got a spreadsheet, that can be done a lot faster. I can do it on the financial calculator, but it's going to take me 3 steps to get to where you can just plug it out in 1 step. So
I do have that class on financial calculator. If you want to do in bulk, I can teach you guys, which is also part of our advanced class if you're interested. So my tool is a little plug, but also something I use on a regular day process because I have to. I create a tool for myself where I can go and grab property data. I can go get, REO comps. I can get REO agents. I can get population size. I can get values from different things, last sold date, last listed price. I can get foreclosure data all within 9 seconds an address, automatically populated through my due diligence portal. And that allows me to process not one, but 50 or 20 or 100 assets in a matter of minutes, because I take that information, every single tape I get, and I take it, put it into my due diligence portal. I hit a button and I get exported a great spreadsheet with the tape and the data. And then I take that and I can plug it into my calculator, which then at that point, I can make a bid on 50 assets in a matter of 10, 15 minutes because of the fact that it automates all the due diligence I need, annual tax amounts, multiple property values, everything comes in a matter of 10 seconds at an address. So it saves me time and reduces errors. I need that on a day-to-day basis. I can't live without it.
Yeah.
So that's a tool I need, right? And I don't know how you guys grab your stuff, but if you want, take a look at it. Go to our site, due diligence or whatnot. I see a comment from Greg that the 10 BII changed my life in 2000. Spreadsheets are a killer. Yes. If you're running one asset, financial calculator is nice and easy. If you need to run 10 assets, the financial calculator takes a little longer, right? But that's okay. Whatever works for you. So now we're on number 5, if I'm doing my math correct here, right?
Yeah.
What would be your 5th best tool that you use on a daily basis or a weekly basis for your business to be successful as it is today?
I'm checking my notes here because we had talked about this before. Which one should we go with here? Let's go with
You choose.
You know what? Sticking with that internet theme. So due diligence is a huge part of this business. Of any kind of real estate, it's a big part of it. But again, I'm remote, you're remote. So when I'm buying something in Tennessee or Texas or somewhere, anywhere, Montana is the closest state to me. That's still, a good 3 hours away. I can't just jump in the car and go look at this house, or I'm not going to. I'm not going to go and get on a plane. And in fact, I haven't. Over all these years, I've gone and looked at one note, the property at it, only because I happen to be in the area. But anyway, that being said, one of the things that we're always looking at is what is the value of the property? What are some of the property taxes behind it? Some of these numbers that you can fairly easily go and look at. So I look at sites like Zillow and Redfin. I actually prefer Redfin. I find it's a little more accurate, but I will go and look at that. And then we talked about this too. Like Zillow has a map feature. So first of all, not this estimate at all. I don't know
Yes.
how their algorithm works, but it doesn't work in my opinion. So whatever number this estimate spits out, that's nice, but it's not accurate. So that's fine. I go down and I drill down to the map. I'll look at properties sold in that area in those 3 block radius kind of thing. And try to drill down as best I can what I think the value is of the property that I'm looking at, just to make sure the equity's there. So Zillow is really good for that. Just that map feature. Redfin also has a map feature. It's a little bit harder to find. It used to be more obvious. Now it's a little bit harder to find.
Yep.
It's down at the bottom. If you put in your address and scroll down to the bottom, there's a map feature down there that you can pull up. But then I'll go and look at comparables and things like that. So that to me is essential. Again, that's what makes it doable for me to do what I do. After I've done that kind of research, after that allows me to put in a bid, once I've won the bid, then I go and talk to a local realtor. I'll get a BPO. I'll figure out for somebody local who's actually laid eyes on the property, what they think that house is worth. But initially, I have to have some idea of what I think it's worth. So I use Zillow and Redfin on a daily basis, especially when I'm in buy mode. When I'm looking at buying things, I'm looking at that constantly, trying to figure it out. So that's a long answer. There you go.
Yeah. So the next step for me, I was hoping you didn't go there, and I want to make sure I mention this. So, and there's different ways to say these words. Similar idea that we can't go to these multiple different cities, counties, and whatnot. They get the information. We talked to Robin on our private call, weekly private call about this, and that whenever somebody years ago wanted to go look at a property and they wanted to look at notes and whatnot, and they wanted to get information about the property and maybe look at the assignment chain, look at the tax records and stuff like that, they had to go down to the county records. I'm sorry, but I'm not flying to look at due diligence, right? The fact that we can easily see county records online is wonderful.
Yeah.
However, there's over 3,000 of these counties.
Yeah.
Well, a nice website, depending how you say the words, called Nitro Online or Nitro Line or however, Net or Online, whatever it is a great website where you can put a county link in there and it'll give you the link for the tax assessor. It'll give you the link for the tax deeds and clerical, all those kind of things. It's all in one spot where you can click it. Well, what I did was actually reverse engineer and actually it's in our portal now. So when you do download your spreadsheet, the links to each, whatever county that property is, will be inside the spreadsheet, which makes it a whole lot faster to go look at delinquent taxes or county record for deeds, assignments, all those kind of things. Without that, I don't know how we try to find what the delinquent tax amount is manually and look at the deed record. I don't know if I could do that.
No.
If I would be able to do the space. It's just impossible.
And that's the thing. I think without that, you could buy things in your county and maybe a couple of neighboring counties, and that's it. Yeah. So it's great to have these things online and just be able to go and look wherever. Yeah. That's a great tool. That's a really good one.
Yeah. So you're up next, man.
Let's go with one that again is maybe kind of, it's a luxury item, but it's an essential tool. 2 screens. 2 screens is a huge deal. I have found it has made such a difference. I just 2 computer screens. That's all I'm talking about. Where I can be looking at one thing over here and something else over here. And it's just so much more efficient.
I'd like to hear the comments for those people who are using one screen. just tell me.
Just curious.
I see Greg's Whittaker saying dual monitors, baby. Yes. I'd love to hear from those people who are using one screen. And I would challenge you, please put in the comments, if you try a second monitor for a week, I think it'd be like a drug addict, right? Trying to pull that drug away. Yeah. I don't know how I would function with one screen. Now, again, if you have one screen that's 40 inches wide, different topics, right? But if you're working with a laptop or a 125-inch screen, I'm telling you, once you get to 2, you don't know how you functioned. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so efficient where I can be looking at something over here and even just transcribing. I can be looking, I
Yes.
can have it up over here and typing over here, or I can drag things from one website into, loading up something, uploading a document. I can have my files on one screen and then wherever I'm uploading on the other screen and just drag it across. Like so many things. It is just so much more efficient. I can find I get so much more done with two screens. Is there an
So
advantage to three screens? I know you've gone to three screens recently.
yeah, it's just more of the same, which I don't know if there's a bad thing about more of the same. My son just got for Christmas two different curved monitors, and one center monitor. I'm a little jealous. I got one, two, and I got one on the wall up here to kind of let me see everything I need to see.
Yeah.
And most people say, well, that means too much multitasking. It does to a point. But say you're following a video and you're doing email as well as doing some, it allows you to do multiple stuff. That kind of feature is really awesome. But there comes a time where the only people who need 4 or 5 screens are those crazy people working on the stock market. I get it. But it's not about looking at every screen at any moment. It's not about that. It's literally about maybe copy pasting, reviewing, looking at assets, comparing stuff, and looking at stuff and analyzing 2 different things at one time. So I mean, you can split your screen, but it just makes it so small.
Yeah.
To really kind of analyze stuff, or whatever you're trying to do.
And for whatever reason, splitting the screen, it's not the same. I've done that when I'm on a pinch, like on my little laptop or something, and it's fine. But for some reason, it's not the same. And I find that 2 screens actually makes a big difference.
I encourage you guys in the comments below, even on our recorded YouTube thing. I'd love to hear what your best real estate tool that you find you use for the note space. I know there's other things out there for, prop wire and all stuff. I don't think that's really for the note space, right? It doesn't, most of those services find you stuff where we're trying to gather information. It's more about gathering for us than to go find assets and build lists. But I think my next one, I think we're on 9 or 8 or whatever, I'm not sure where we're at now, but we'll keep going for a few more here to get some extra. So I think for me, we talked about before a little bit is, and people know me, and I should rename myself here, spreadsheets. I don't know how I can do this note space without spreadsheets. I don't know how many times I've gotten an asset, and I'm sure hopefully some of the people on here are on the call, but they give me a PDF and it throws me in a crazy world that I have to translate to a spreadsheet, because spreadsheets allow me to analyze things a lot quicker, easier, faster. And for bid calculators, like we have in our advanced class, we can analyze assets by just changing a row number. In a matter of minutes, I can analyze 10 assets by just changing a number on a spreadsheet and re-enter all the data we want. Boom, 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 boom. And in a matter of 10 minutes, you can analyze 10 deals within seconds.
Yeah.
So spreadsheets, the power. And now, if anyone wants to have a debate between Excel and Google Sheets, I'm open for it, right? I'm a Google Sheet person. But yeah, spreadsheets is a tool that I use on an everyday basis for formulas, analyzation, reviews, tracking things, all kind of stuff. That spreadsheet is essential. If I didn't have that, I couldn't do it my business. And as you can probably see, guys, outside buying a second monitor and paying for internet, all the tools we're talking today are free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You can go get your Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheet. Besides buying a monitors, right? The use of the monitor, the internet base, everything here, networking is free.
Yeah.
No paid tools here, right?
Right.
So what would be, I believe we're on 9. So what would be your 9th tool that you can't live without? What service or tool that you need on a daily basis or a deal basis is crucial for you that you could not do this? I'm thinking of one that I think you may go with, but what are you thinking? What's number 9 for you?
It's just back on the spreadsheets. I'm just looking on my computer. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spreadsheets open on my, like as tabs, Google spreadsheets, 7 different ones that are open right now. And anything from marketing metrics, leads. I've got a whole spreadsheet just for leads, for all kinds of different leads.
Yeah.
Meeting chat. I've got one here for DME, just for the sponsorships and for the schedule and everything that's going on. Snapshot of everything I own, and then a couple of tapes I'll open up on spreadsheets that I'm looking at assets for sale. So constantly, all the time. So that's a big deal. You're more into it than I am, but
we
it's
need it. We
essential.
both need it. Essential.
Absolutely.
So what would be your ninth best item? And again, all this stuff is free, guys, right? We didn't realize before we made this call, everything's free. What would be your ninth item that you say you need on a daily or a deal basis? Maybe you need it to close a deal or whatever.
So I'm looking, I don't know if this is the one that you were thinking of, but I'm finally caving on this one.
Ooh.
Social media.
Whoa.
I finally got dragged into it just this last year in 2023 on a serious basis. I've always had social media, it's been there, but I've never used it. I've never done anything with it. And then finally in 2023, I'm seeing the value in it. And so I'm diving in, get my name out there a little bit more. And it's been a good thing. It's been a really good thing, actually. So that's been a tool that I've more recently kind of accepted and started using. And it's been a great addition to everything I'm doing. And now I find I'm using it seriously every day. And now I'm looking and posting and things. And
it's funny, we bring up social media, and if you bring up social media, your family, like, oh, did you see my post about? And my answer is no.
No.
When we say social media, please doesn't mean that we're looking at people's travel plans or posts about their family. And I appreciate those who do, and that's great, wonderful. I literally open my social media and go to my Facebook group. Usually I have 10, 15 notifications. I go answer some questions in a group or so. I very rarely go to my feed, right? I want to make sure I'm productive on social media. Make sure that we're putting out content, getting content, asking good questions, and things like that. Those are the things that really matter to us, right? And we use social media for a business purpose rather than a personal thing, right? We may post sometimes personal, and a caveat to those who are kind of tied between personal and professional, what you could do is actually separate your friends. If you have questions, let me know. And you can group your friends, personal, your family one way and notes another. And then when you make a post about your family, you can actually make it sure that only people that you want to see that post, and that, posts that you want to put about real estate, your family doesn't comment on asking you crazy questions, right? You can do that kind of stuff on social media, on the Facebook and whatnot.
Yeah, I still don't do very much family related stuff. It's mostly business. Every once in a while I'll throw in something just so people know I'm human, but otherwise, no, it's business purpose for sure.
So again, I'd love to see more of you guys' comments and feedback in the chat. So I think we're on number 10, and if we think of any others, we'd love to hear from you guys. So what are the ones I lean on an essential basis? And I think that I thought you were going to go here, right?
Yeah.
It's a service. This one actually does cost money, but I guarantee you need it. And those who are creative finance people who have been following us since 2023, you need it more than anyone. Your servicers and your attorneys. You need them, right?
Oh, yeah.
You need your servicer, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to all the servicers out there listening and watching. You need your servicers, you need your attorneys. Now, could you do this work on your own as servicer? You can, but there's a lot of laws you don't know, a lot of things you're not aware of. And believe me, the time it takes to do it and dealing with your borrowers on a daily basis can be cumbersome.
Yeah.
Your servicers, your key for $20, $30 a month. They do it all.
Yeah. Totally worth it. Absolutely.
Yes.
And your attorney, if you're not using an attorney when you're creating documents or something like that, that could cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars later on.
Yes.
So essential service. It's so important to use the right tools for the right job. And in this case, when we're talking about notes, a servicer, like you say, could you do it on your own? Sure. Why would you?
This is not a hobby. This is a business.
Yeah.
Your business is to make money.
Right. Yeah. Your time is way better spent doing anything else.
So some of the runner-ups we had here that are essential to our business were things such as you can get lists for notes from like things like Batchleads and List Source. I don't use it. I've had problems with it in the past. Some of the other things were such as, accountability and mastermind group. And I think to me, that's a picky choice. If we need it, we go it. We have one privately that we run off of, which I can't live without, but I don't think it's essential for doing note space. The social media for new investors is key. We didn't put in there, which I would say ties with financial calculator, is a bid calculator. That is essential, but I would tie with your financial calculator. You need to have a calculator to work things.
Well, and one that I think, so a little bit of a plug here at the end of this month, we've got a show with Simon White, who is an AI genius.
Yes, guys, listen to this.
So far, that's not an essential tool for me, but I have a feeling that once I start using it, once I get an idea of what I can do with it and how I can start using it, I get the feeling that it's going to become an essential tool.
Yeah, I'd like to hear if anyone in the comments, in the recordings or YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever I'm streaming everywhere. If you're using AI, we'd love to hear it. We're just exploring it. And on our next call, we'll have a AI expert to kind of walk through. He's not a notes guy. He's an AI guy who's going to help us learn, see what AI can do for us, how we can make our business better, easier, faster. And we haven't even touched upon what we can do with him yet. We're going to let his brain just work and tell us what we can do with it.
So he does invest in notes as part of his life, but it's not his first business. He's a software, he's a marketing guy. And AI is his jam. So I'm really excited to hear from him and see what we can learn from him. I think it's going to be a big thing, even in the note space. That's the piece that you and I haven't figured out yet is, what would I use it for? And I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm curious to see what he's got to say.
Absolutely. So we hit upon all our, let me see if there's any other runner-ups here we have in our list. We mentioned Podio and software. I use spreadsheets a lot of times. I do have an internal system to track things, but you can track everything in spreadsheet. You don't really need Podio or services like that. But I'd love to see the next date for us. I think it's the 26th, Cindy. We're the 2 Fridays from now in 2 weeks. I'll be posting the event probably Monday or so. But yeah, Sean will be on with us. He confirmed. We have a couple of things on the palette coming up. We're going to be talking about bookkeeping soon. We also are trying to tee up a raising capital conversation. And we have a few more on the docket that are scheduling out. DJ's to jump us on with a call. I had a call with him today, which is great. So we literally we're going to really hit some stuff up here. Yes. So guys, if you ever want to see what our next upcoming webinar, inside my website, there's a way you can either download a Google or Outlook Apple calendar, and it'll actually attach to your calendar. So anytime I upload a new webinar that we're having, a conversation, it will show up in your calendar and remind you. And I usually put the links for the call as well in that calendar. So feel free, if you have a question about that, let me know.
And if there's anything that anybody wants to learn more about, let us know. We
please
see if we can do a show on that.
Yeah. We want to hit on some more topics this year. We're going to hit the creative finance, seller finance world. We're doing that stuff as well. If we have creative finance, seller finance people, we are doing a great series on that kind of stuff to teach you how to sell a note for higher value and the way you create it and structure it. There's a lot of bad information out there. We want to show you what it is. This belief that percentage of UPB is the way to go is a fallacy. It's a myth. It's bad. So we're going to shift gears here, and we want everyone put their accountability hat on here. We want to set some goals for ourselves, and we challenge each other in the pre-call was we want to think big so that if we don't make something here, we still are way above the mountain heads. So let's talk about what goals mean to us. Nathan, you did a great job of the DME, which again will be held in the end of May in Nashville. What is a goal and what is not a goal?
So DME, we had such a fun time last year. I'm really looking forward to it again this time around. We're actually it's amazing how much time goes into it, and planning. So we are just about 6 months, a little less than 6 months out. We have almost sold out of our exhibitor booths.
Wow.
They're all been spoken for. Almost all of them have been paid for. Some people still out there sending their money, but we've got 15 spots, and I think 14 of them have been spoken for. So that's amazing. That is going incredibly fast. And then some of the other sponsorships, which are a ton of fun. We've got some really extra cool things that we've thrown in there. Anyway, point is, we've started planning for that 3 months ago. So it's up, and planning is happening, and we're really excited about bringing it back here this year. For me, so last year we had just about 200 people.
But before we go there, what
Sure.
you did a great job of goals in the beginning of that. What was the acronym? Do you remember the acronym you used?
SMART.
SMART
Goals. So they've got to be specific, measurable, actionable, something you can actually do something about, realistic, and timely. You've got to be able to attach a time to it. So that's SMART goals.
Yes.
It's very important.
So the opposite of SMART goal is I want to lose weight is not a goal.
No, that's a nice.
I can't measure it.
No, that's a wish. That's a hope.
Yeah, right.
But it's not a goal. If you say, I want to lose whatever it is, 20 pounds by June 1st, now you've got a goal.
Yes.
And you can start working towards putting your plans into place of how you're going to achieve that goal. But specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, timely.
Absolutely.
Those are real goals. So that's I learned that several years ago, and I've taken that to heart, and that's how I like to set my goals going forward.
What would you say your first goal is? Lay it out for us.
My very first goal. So I'll back up for 1 second here. Looking back, I don't know that I realized I was doing it at the time, but 2023 was really a setup year. And I'm not sure that I did that necessarily on purpose, but that's what it ended up being. So we took over DME and ran the first one and set that all up, which was fantastic. And we've got a lot of things figured out, which is great. We put our fund together. We had put it on pause, and then we kind of revitalized that and put that back together. So the fund is now up and running and moving forward. But that was another setup thing where that got all put together. Then the third thing was this nonprofit. So we put together a nonprofit. We were waiting for one last document to be able to start moving forward with that. But that was the other setup thing. So for me, that's 3 different projects, 3 different areas that I'm looking at. So that's the first thing. It was a setup year. That means this year, the fund is a $5 million raise. So I want to have that full 5 million raised by June 1st, by the time DME and have that up and running, because there are so many deals. You and I are looking at so many deals and so many great, a lot of these seller finance deals that are coming out. I think we're reaching people where they're learning how to do them correctly. I've seen much better quality the last couple of months, much better quality. So that's great. And had some good conversations with people where they say, okay, so you mean if I did this and this different, that's better? Yes. And so they're getting to know that. So that's good. So 5 million raised by June 1st. That's what I'm looking for.
High five. Well, guys, make sure you help him out there. Spread the word. You know, he's basically going to be giving great returns to people who want to get stuff going. So my goal, one of the things that I have is I'm all about, understand, guys, we don't make money from this at all, right? This is more about branding. But I'd like to get out there more and talk to more people, right? So one of my goals is really to reach a high number on YouTube and Facebook followers and people who watch our content, because it's not about me, it's not about Nathan, it's about the content, making sure we get in front of people. So we encourage you guys, share a podcast and share the YouTube thing. We're probably around 2,000 people on YouTube. I'd like to get to 5,000 by the end of the year. I'd like to double and almost triple that to the end of the year. 5,000 subscribers are watching and learning, not only on the notes side, but also creative finance side. So we encourage you to spread that word, the podcast. Right now, we get around 150 listeners. Share that. I'd like to double that to get 300 listeners on every episode so we can share it. But we need your guys' help to tell us if there's a topic that would be really interesting, such as raising capital. Let us know that so we can really kind of hit home on what you guys want. So I want to double our typical podcast listens and almost triple the YouTube of our subscribers so we can get in front of more people and share the information we want to share.
That's awesome.
Cindy made a compliment that we do a great job trying to reach out and educating all you guys. Yes, but you guys educate us at the same time. So we want to make sure we're giving back to you guys. We just have a platform to do it.
Yeah.
So that's my first goal. What would be your next goal that you want to achieve that I pushed you on this goal a little bit. I pushed it a little hard. Let's see which way you go with it, right? Go ahead. What's your next goal?
So the next one would be surrounding DME. So like I say, last year we had about 200 people there. What I had said is when we were talking about this week is I would like to get that up to 300. I think we can do better than that, honestly and truly. So we're going to up that. We're going to say 400 people at DME. So that's what we're shooting for at DME. I honestly believe it is one of the best places you can go to learn about notes, to network with people that are in the note world and people that are involved. It is such a good place to go. I highly, highly recommend it just because it's such a good place to be.
So guys, I want you to help me support Nathan on this. I want him to get to 500, right? I want that target high. So if we don't get 500, we get 499.
Yeah.
He wants 300. I want to push him a little harder here, right? So I want you guys to help push this content. Again, this is not about money making. It's about getting around other people. I want creative finance people, we want seller finance people. We want gurus there. We want everyone there in one room to talk.
Yeah.
And share content. We had deals getting done at the conference, again, at Nathan's conference, right? Deals were getting done on the table. Money was getting wired.
Yeah. We want people there. It's not just to come and rah, rah, rah and go home. No. If that's all that happens, then we've missed the mark. It's to get deals done. That's the number one goal of the conference itself, is get people together so that deals can get done and we can actually have business being done. So that's anything that I'm looking at is like, okay, who are we bringing for different sponsors and things? It's not just anybody who's wanting to sponsor. In fact, we've said no to some people already. No, because they don't contribute to that ultimate goal of getting deals done. If they came, it would be a great presentation. They're great people, are awesome, but it doesn't contribute to that getting deals done. So that's the number one goal.
So my next one is about seller finance, right? To me, I love to buy more notes in general. And last year, I think we bought close to 10 or so seller finance deals and a bunch of partials of that. But I like to buy more whole loan seller finance notes at a rate that makes sense for both the seller and the buyer. I'd like to get to the point where we've actually bought, and again, measurable goals, right? In a timeline. By June, I would like to close 20 creative finance notes. And then by December, I want to almost triple that. I'd like to get to the point where I close almost, say, 60 by the end of the year. I'd like to keep going with that. But the only way to do that is literally to get the word out there to creative finance people that we're out there, we're involved. We can buy from them and we can play with numbers and teach them what it is to create these notes. So that when they get it, they can sell partial. Now, again, if we talked about in our private call was that if the seller creates a note at 8%, it may be better for them to sell partial to a note investor than the whole thing, because you may not be able to sell the whole thing because of discount. Yeah. But we like to buy, I like to buy at least 20 by June and 60 by the end of the year. Something I can attain and I can do. We have the capital for it. It's not the problem. It's just getting the deals that make sense and make sure the education's out there. So I'd love for you guys to hold us accountable to both these goals and to help us with our goals, right? We'd love for you guys to join in here. And I would love for you guys to post your goal publicly, like we're doing now, so people can hold you accountable. So in your accountability group or Facebook group, post your goal. I know it may feel embarrassing, may feel weird. You may say, oh, I don't know if I can attain it. But if you don't put it down, it's not realistic. You got to write it down so someone can check in on you. Find that accountability partner and check in with you. So in June, you come back and say, Dave, how you doing? Yeah. And I may or may not hit the mark, but I need that accountability just like you guys do. So it's really, really essential that everyone has that accountability partner.
And run it by that test. Is it a SMART goal? Is it specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely? Run it by that test. And if it meets all 5 criteria, that's a good goal. If it's, you know, if it's missing any one of those elements, then rethink it and just rework it, make it something that you can do something about.
Yeah. So put it in the chat box below, put it in your comments below, set your goals publicly that everyone can see it so you can be held accountable. We'd also like you to put your tools you did put down there. If we didn't mention a tool that you think you guys need that's essential to your note space investing, put it down there. Let's see who else. You may find someone else who's using the same tool that you could bounce things off of. It's a crucial thing. You know, this stuff is fun to do, and we do this. We did it last year and do it this year. And this is great for those who are just trying to get into the space, but also good for those who are experienced. We often, as experienced investors, we kind of don't want to share much. We kind of get hidden. We don't want to be exposed. But the only way to learn is to grow. And sometimes to grow is to learn from those who may be telling you you're wrong or something that's a little different, right? 3-4 years ago, I was never touching creative finance, seller finance notes. It was too messy and all that stuff until I learned. Yeah. And then I said, wait a minute, this can be done right. Right. So we encourage you guys, put your accountability out there and let's hear what you have to say. So, well, Nathan, I'm looking forward to our next call. You know, I'm big on AI. AI is something that is a goal, but I don't know how to formulate the goal until we talk to him. Simon's going to help me formulate how I'm going to make AI, because everyone knows out there I'm big on this stuff. How can I make AI work for me, right? And I'm probably implementing it into our portal or due diligence tool for note investors. So that's awesome. I see someone asked how to get a hold of us. I put a chat in here. Just feel free to reach out to us on social media or go to the websites and email. You'll find us, I promise you, right? If you can't, just send us a message and we'll go from there. But well, Nathan, I think it's time to let the audience go. Enjoy their weekend. We're going to have snow this weekend for the first time. I'm not sure if I'm ready for it. Woo-wee, that storm's coming through. So
looking forward to some snow here. We'll see.
Till next time, guys, enjoy. Thank you very much. And we'll see everyone soon.